This week, development was focused on building out the back end of the inventory data management system. The main area of focus was building out web crawlers to gather product data and images from the Luxottica and Saflo websites. Additionally, a program was written to gather data from an API written by Frames Data. This information also gathers product data and images. Another API was created on the e-commerce website to pull in product data into Stella Polaris. Lastly, a notification system was built in, as a lot of these tasks are taking up a lot of hardware time and resources, so as to just keep the user informed about what's going on in the back end. So everyone has seen the analytics, order details, projects, and sales tax piece. The area that was focused on the most this week was inventory. If you go to the current batch, this is actually pulling in all of our brands, frames, colors, and sizes from a database that's on Stella Polaris. We can go and actually look at each manufacturer, each frame, which has all of the frame attributes, sizes, and colors. If we go back to the current batch, we can refresh this data by clicking on the refresh data link up top. When you do that, it triggers an event. You can see in the notification system it says a product data refresh is in progress. After the product data refresh has been completed, another notification will pop up telling us that the import is complete. The area where it says create new batch, this is where most of the time was spent this past week. I'll go ahead and create a new batch, go into batch 2, and at this point we can start our imports for Luxottica, Saflo, and Frames data. So if I were to run the Luxottica import, it will create a notification saying that it's staging the Luxottica import. For the Saflo, I have to actually go to the Saflo website, download a file, a CSV file, upload it, submit, and at this point all of the frames for the Saflo brand have been staged. The import process will actually go in and gather more product data and images. And lastly, the frames data import is an API, so a staging step is not required. As you can see, there's a Luxottica, for the Luxottica and Saflo, there's a 1 and 2 step. Number 1 is staging and number 2 is importing. Staging must happen before the importing does. But again, for frames data, all you have to do is run this program. Now I've already run these, and again, the staging process takes about 5 minutes for Saflo and about 10 to 20 minutes for Luxottica. The import process for Luxottica, I started it about 2.5 hours ago and it's still running. Saflo took about an hour and a half and Frames data took about 2 hours. So I started this earlier. We'll go to one that's already been mostly completed. You can see the Luxottica import is still working. The Saflo and Frames data have been completed. Now what we can do is we can export the data from those imports. So if I were to click on the export data link, it will, in the back end, create a task which will start an export process. And as you can see, it just popped up, Saflo data ready to download. I'll click on that. It's downloading. Go ahead and open it to show you what the output looks like. And it's just a very long list of all the possible configurations pulled off of the site. The local path to the image itself is in one of the columns. There's around 40 columns of information. And this can be used to just upload straight into the inventory database on the e-commerce site. I'll go ahead and start the export process for Frames data. This can take up to 5 minutes. And then there's also a nice feature in here where we can actually export the images. And this is a streaming service written in PHP that actually exports, that starts a zip file and streams it to the client as it's dumping information in. So it's pretty efficient as far as memory consumption. So I can do that for frames data, SAFLO, and then I can also even start it for Luxottica since that's in progress. Even since the Luxottica export is not completed, I can export the data to get an idea of where it is at. And like I said, the Luxottica data does take some time to download, or to Luxottica data. Oh, the frames data is not completed yet. But Luxottica, let's see. So we open it up. Here's the Luxottica information that has been imported. And frames data is still working. And then here's an example of what the image export gives us. And this is for SAFLO. So it's just every single image that was found on that site. And again, these are linked back to the data file that was downloaded. And all those can be just dropped into the file system for the e-commerce site for images. There's the frames data download. And this is actually a 40 megabyte CSV file, so we're not going to wait around for that. It's around 150,000 rows of information. But anyways, that is just an overview of what the product or inventory data management system is. It allows us to go around the web and gather data for our manufacturers, for our brands, for our products, including images.